When I look at Parshat Tetzaveh, there's one word that comes to mind, and that's the word dignity. The main topic, the topic that gets the most attention in the Parsha is by far the clothing of the Kohanim. The Torah goes into great depth, explains us all the clothing that the Kohanim need to wear. For the regular Kohanim, pants, shirt, belt, hat, but not just stam, pants, shirt, belt, hat, but specific measurement that the Torah gives us, specific colors, specific, very, very specific requirements are given to how to construct these begadim. The Kohen Gadol has 4 additional clothing. The Torah tells us the reason for these clothing, to have the specific clothing that you have, is because the chavod ulutifaris. The reason is for dignity and for beauty. The Kohanim need to look dignified and they need to look beautiful. They need to look nice. But it's not just a topic of the clothing where we see the concept of dignity come into play. In fact, there are 3 other topics of the Parsha. We have the first topic of the Parsha, the topic of the oil, that the Bnei Israel are told to bring special oil to the Beis HaMikdash in order to light the menorah. And at the end of the Parsha, we learn about the Mizbeach HaKetores, the incense altar, the altar where we put up the Ketores to create a fragrance in the Beis HaMikdash. What's the purpose of having a menorah to produce all this light? And what's the purpose of having the Mizbeach HaKetores to produce the fragrance? So says the Rambam, and so does the Sefer Chinuch, that the reason for this is the same idea of the clothing of the Kohanim, the chavod ulutifares, for dignity and for beauty. Very simply put, when you walk into the Beis HaMikdash, you should now see people, Kohanim, who are dressed appropriately. They look nice. This is a chashra place. This is a wonderful place. Look at the way everyone is dressed over here. The candle, gives off light. We know special places. You want to have a nice light. And there's also this Be'ech HaKetores that should smell nice. There's a fourth topic of the Parsha, which is really the third in the order of its delivery of the Parsha, and that's the inauguration ceremony. The inauguration ceremony called the Miluim, that Torah tells us in how to Mekadesh and how to sanctify all the Kalim and the Kohanim by putting oil on them and so on and so forth. The purpose of this, says the Rambam in Mor Nevuchim, is the same idea of the Chavod Ulutifares, for dignity and for beauty. When you anoint things and you show this is something which is important. So therefore we see in summary the 4 topics of the Parsha all tie together for the Chavod Ulutifares, for dignity and for beauty. The question though is that what's so important about Chavod Ulutifares, that everything needs to be dignified and to be beautiful? So it says the Sefer Chinuch, and it's really based on the Rambam, that we know that we are flesh and blood. And it's very important, it says the Sefer Chinuch, to understand, to never deny that fact. The Sefer Chinuch brings out a concept, he says, Achar levavos nimshechas ha'pu'ulos, that our actions, our behavior is controlled, or is our actions, our behavior controls our emotions. And in fact, all the externals controls our emotions. There's a famous psychology study, probably most people learned in Psychology 101, about the study about putting a pencil in one's mouth. If you put a pencil in your mouth, you will tend to smile. And the psychologists, they did a test, and they saw that people who had pencils in their mouth tend to be happier. How do they measure happiness? Well, I think what they did was they asked people to measure on how humorous a comic was. And the people who had pencils in their mouth, when they were smiling, they felt happier. And they saw more humor in their comics. But that's the concept over here. Achar halavavos nimsheches hapu'ulos, that our actions control our emotions. So the Sefer Chinuch says that all the mitzvos are really like that. Mitzvos are all there to affect us. When we go to the Beis HaMikdash and we see a beautiful place, and we see it dignified, we are now able to approach it with the proper awe and reverence that it deserves. Because our emotions, the emotion of the awe and the reverence that Beis HaMikdash deserves, is actually based on the physical, the external actions of Beis HaMikdash that is built in a dignified way. The Rambam says the same is true with Shabbos. Shabbos is always put in parallel with the Beis HaMikdash. Tomorrow we're going to get ready for Shabbos. We're going to clean our house for Shabbos. We're going to set up the candles. We're going to set the Shabbos table. Your house will be built to be l'chavod ulutifares. And the basic reason, is because you will be in a much more appropriate mood when you come into your house, all beautiful. When you spend your day tomorrow cleaning your house, it will embed within you the importance of Shabbos, and walk into Shabbos with the reverence that we should walk into the Beis HaMikdash. I hope this idea comes forward and sinks in properly, that the externals around us will affect our emotions, and we should appreciate, as the laws of Shabbos, the laws of the Beis HaMikdash, and the laws of Beis HaKnesses, on how the physical acts around us will control emotions, and we should have the proper reverence due to these places.
Amen.